to speak now. Thanks, Floyd.
Thanks, Norm, and thanks to everybody that's come out. The Science Centre kind of gets short shrift in the whole Ontario Place development, but without this $600 million, $500 million parking garage, there is no reason to move the Science Centre. 54 years overlooking the beautiful Don Valley, and so we'll get to it. Doug Ford has presented a misguided plan to move the Ontario Science Centre to Ontario Place. This benefits no one, certainly not the residents of Flemington Park or Thorncliffe Park, not the neighboring communities of Don Mills or Leaside, or any residents of Ontario. Not the 400 employees of the Ontario Science Centre, many of which will lose their jobs. This is also loss of jobs when we're looking to create jobs. Not the beautiful, functional, and renowned heritage structure, not the glorious Don Valley Ravine Parklands, and no one except Doug Ford's firm friends. Stop the corruption. Stop the corruption. 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 Greed. Greed. When Premier John Robarts chose to build a new museum as a centennial gift to the people of Ontario in the geographic center of then Toronto and outside downtown, it was a visionary choice. Today, the OSC is at the core of a diverse and rapidly growing neighborhood that will soon be served by a transit hub for the Eglinton LRT, with a stop already named Science Centre. This is Metrolinx through Doug Ford, named it Science Centre stop. So, yeah. Thank you. It leads the Science Centre leads a cultural precinct that includes the Aga Khan Museum as well as the Japanese Cultural Center outside of downtown. Selecting, Chris mentioned Ebb Zeidler. There's another well-known Ontario architect, and selecting architect Ray Moriyama to create an iconic building was also a visionary choice. In partnership with his chief designer, Teizo Miyake, Mr. Moriyama transcended old models of traditional museums filled with static artifacts to create one of the world's first interactive science centers. This is an important spot that people forget. I just want a show of hands. Who has been to the Science Centre? We love you too. To date, the Science Centre has welcomed more than 52 million people. 52 million. And this is even better, and science has sparked the imaginations of more than 9 million students. Most people don't know, but created world-renowned exhibits, experience, and traveling shows. The Science Centre actually designs and sells to other science centers around the world. It's consistently one of the top science museums in the world. It's inspired the creation of most of the science centers, the world science centers, that are based on interactive experiences for learning, not don't touch exhibits. It's a facility staffed by well-paying jobs with a workforce of science educators and skilled craftspeople. We can't forget that there are jobs at stake as well. The Science Centre has won international awards and museum clients around the world. And back to that science learning has inspired an early mindset in so many children to enter the science world as adults. So, stop the steal.
Stop the steal. Stop the steal. Stop the steal. Stop the steal. Stop the steal. Stop the steal. Stop the steal. Stop the steal.
All that is in addition to forming a unique bond with the communities of Flemington Park and Thorncliffe Park, represented here by Stephanie Bowman. And this was brought into focus for our team by a local resident community advocate, Dr. Shaklo Sharapova, who reminded us that this is where new Canadians go to first learn about Canada. It's walking distance. Now, you want to walk from Flemington Park or Thorncliffe Park to Ontario Place to have a science center that's half the size, half the interactive exhibits. No? Anybody? Half the staff? No. Half the fun? No. Well, that's another question. Who had a good time at Ontario Science Center? All right, that person in the back, what's the matter with you? Yeah, go. No, just kidding. There's nobody there. Back to today, the initially announced plan to demolish the current building and build housing was quickly modified following public pushback with the realization that the land, except for the current parking lots on the tableland, is owned and protected by the Toronto Region Conservation Authority and can't be built on. Well, you got to think that, okay, let's move the science. Okay, we got this parking garage. What are we going to do? Let's move the science center. Wow! Then we can build houses down in the. Oh shoot! Anybody have that napkin that the notes were written on? Anybody? No? Okay. Demolition of the, and this is important to environmental conservationists like myself. Demolition of a structure the size of the OSC would be environmentally unsound, with an enormous carbon release, and have a devastating effect on its ravine location, urban forest, wetland, and innumerable number of wildlife species, as well as the adjacent parkland, because it sits just above E.T. Seton Park along the West Don. Shame!
Nature killer.
Save our science center.
Save our science center. Save our science center.
Save our science center.
Save the science center.
Save our science center.
Now we get to where what goes on in the building behind us. All this leads to us to believe a government decision led by the Premier and Infrastructure Minister King Surma that the Science Center be relocated to Ontario Place. Yes. Lock them up. Lock them up. The Science Center relocated to Ontario Place is nothing but a smokescreen and a cover-up to justify the $450 million parking garage gift to Therm Mega Spa carbon bomb. Possibly the outlay of $650 million to $1 billion of taxpayer money for the parking garage with a half-size Science Center light makes financial sense. Possibly? No. Maybe? No. Anyway? No. Something. Mr. Ford holds his government out as being the most fiscally responsible government in decades. My wife told me to put a laugh in, that one did it. If so, show us how the unjustified expense of relocating the Ontario Science Centre makes sense when there are emergency rooms closing, cuts to education and healthcare, as well as a deepening climate crisis.
Shame!
Any of those issues would be a better allocation of our taxpayer dollars.
Yes.
To the progressive conservative MPs in the building behind me, please stop blindly following Doug Fellhart down a path to oblivion in the next election and show some integrity and support to the people that elected you. To the Ontario NDP and leader Merrick Stiles, please show the same passion and attention to the Ontario Science Centre as you are showing to Ontario Place. Ontario Liberal Party and its three leadership contenders. Your party can stand up and own this issue, led by MPPs Adil Shamji, who's the local MPP, as well as Stephanie Bowman, and I don't see Mary Margaret McCann, who's always on board. She's sorry, leadership contender.
Yeah.
To Mayor Chow and Toronto City Council, once again show your united support in protecting another one of Toronto's iconic destinations from destruction by the Ford government. And to all Ontarians, please support our efforts to have the Ontario Science Centre remain in its present location in the Flemington community by going to our website, offering your comments, volunteering your skills, and signing the letter at savesciencecentre.com. Please stop the steal. Stop the steal. Stop the steal. Stop the steal.
Stop the steal.
Lock them up. Lock them up. Lock them up. Lock them up. Thanks, Norman. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Floyd.